Hello, my name's Vince Sheehan and today I'd like to talk about The Trial of a Time Lord, Part 1, The Mysterious Planet. And I'd like to go through this story, part of the overarching Trial of a Time Lord, broadcast in 1986 as season 23. Colin Baker is the Doctor. So what's this story about? Well, officially it's not called The Mysterious Planet, it's just The Trial of a Time Lord, but The Trial of a Time Lord split up into 4 stories, and the unofficial title for the first one is The Mysterious Planet. So how does this story begin? Well, the Doctor's TARDIS is plucked out of space by this tractor beam, and he's brought into this courtroom in front of the Inquisitor and the Doctor's prosecutor, who is called the Valeyard. And the Valeyard's really got it in for the Doctor. He thinks he's been interfering with events in time and he deserves to be punished. So he's brought to trial, and as evidence they're using the Matrix, that kind of repository of all the Time Lords' experiences, memories, which the Valeyard hopes will prove beyond doubt that the Doctor is guilty. So they go into the Matrix, they view the Matrix, and we see the Doctor in the past with Peri on this planet called Ravolox. This kind of planet full of beautiful tall trees. It looks very much like Earth. And in fact, it probably is Earth, because they find a London Underground station overgrown and falling to pieces, decaying. They find a Marble Arch sign under the ground, and Peri is understandably upset about this. It seems this planet Ravolox is possibly Earth in the distant future, but the weird thing is it's in the wrong place. It's about 2 light years away from where Earth should be. While the Doctor and Peri are exploring Ravolox, there's 2 other characters, rather shady characters. Sabalom Glitz, who's this kind of morally grey mercenary, I suppose, and his sidekick Dibber. They're on the planet because they want to destroy this antenna on the planet, which is powering some robot or other. It turns out later that they want to get their hands on this data, which they believe is stored somewhere on this planet and which they can sell to the highest bidder. The Doctor and Peri eventually go their separate ways for a while, and the Doctor goes underground and he sees these underground dwellers who try to stone him initially. But the Doctor then eventually meets this robot called Drathro, who seems to have control over Ravolox. Certainly the underground domain of Ravolox, in these tunnels and corridors. And the people he's in control of are fearful, pale humans who think that the earth above them is destroyed and a barren wasteland. But it turns out a few people are escaping underground and going to the surface and finding out the truth, that in fact it isn't a wasteland up there. It's rather wonderful and beautiful. So Drathro, this robot with these 2 twins who seem to be assisting him, is controlling this underground network of people, this community, with fear. The Doctor meets Drathro and he realises that Drathro is in trouble because he needs this stuff called dark light to survive, to keep going, and Drathro is on his last legs because the kind of machinery around him isn't going to work, it's deteriorating. So Drathro wants the Doctor to help him with these 2 twins. Meanwhile, Peri, Sabalom Glitz and Dibber meet the tribe who live on the surface of Ravolox, and they are led by Queen Katrika, Joan Sims, you might recognise from the Carry On films. And they very much look like they're from the Bronze Age. They've got that kind of feel about them. And they're a superstitious lot. They consult this fire, and they want to sacrifice Sabalon Glitz because the Queen's fed up with these people coming from space trying to take the antenna away from them. They see this antenna as a kind of sacred totem pole. Drathro sends this robot up to the surface to terrorise the tribe. And eventually the Doctor, when he comes back to the surface, manages to, with the help of Peri and Glitz and the tribe, they manage to destroy the robot. And this gives Queen Katrika the confidence with her tribe to go down under the ground and reclaim the robot's castle. They don't know that there's an even more powerful robot, Drathro, under there. They go down and Drathro's there, lashing out in his final moments. He kills Queen Katrika and a couple of others of the tribe, and eventually Drathro himself is defeated after Glitz manages to kind of trick him. Glitz gets what he wants, all these files, and it seems there's a new beginning for the people of Ravolox. The tribe's people and the people underground, maybe they can work together now that Drathro is defeated and have a new future. And throughout this story, we go back and forth to the courtroom. It also seems that parts of the evidence have been tampered with in the Matrix, which will be presumably revealed a bit later on in the Trial of a Time Lord. So what's this story like? What are the good bits? Well, to be honest, the outstanding good bit of this story is the very opening. There's this incredible shot, which for Doctor Who is absolutely brilliant. We have this scanning shot of this spaceship where the Time Lords are conducting the trial, and it looks super impressive. And we hear this wonderfully ominous music, and the Doctor's TARDIS is caught in this tractor beam, and it's really impressive. It's one of the most impressive openings, I think, of any Doctor Who story. Really great, fantastic. Really kind of sets the tone of what you'd hope the Trial of a Time Lord is. And it is really cool to see the Time Lords again, looking rather stern and impressive in their costumes in the courtroom. And the kind of back and forth between the Valeyard and the Doctor in the courtroom, that's quite effective as well. The Doctor often deliberately gets his name wrong. He calls him the scrapyard and the farmyard, etc., instead of the boatyard is another one, instead of the Valeyard. So all that's quite enjoyable. I suppose this is a typical story which might epitomise what went wrong with Doctor Who around about the mid-80s. Other than the opening shot, it all looks a bit cheap, to be honest. The underground layer of Ravolox is your kind of typical Doctor Who tunnels and corridors. The costumes are ropey, and Drathro as an enemy, he looks faintly ridiculous. He's got this big kind of wide head, and these kind of looks like tiny legs or smaller legs. Also the two twins next to him, they were kind of a bit pointless really. And the robot, which goes around terrorising the inhabitants of Ravolox, it really isn't very menacing. It's a bit of a disappointment, to say the least. And then Joan Sims as Queen Katrika, I mean, she's really hamming it up. But it just seems just a bit silly. Her performance is a bit over the top. And Sabalon Glitz, I don't know about him really. He kind of, I mean, he's okay, I guess. But Dibber, his companion, I mean, goodness me, the acting is beyond wooden. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so Mysterious Planet, you know, the original viewers must have saw that original opening shot and thought, wow, Doctor Who really has upped its game now. But then it just kind of lapses into this rather cheap looking humdrum adventure. Colin Baker as the Doctor, I mean, he's fine, he's okay. You can see why a lot of people don't like his portrayal. He's not easy to warm to as the Doctor, I suppose. And I don't think this is one of his best stories. Perry's fine. So overall, it's a rather disappointing story. I guess a bit of a missed opportunity, really. What would I give it out of 10? Well, it's still classic Who, I still love it. But let's face it, isn't a great story. So I'm probably going to give it a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you want me to look at another story, Doctor Who story, please put it in the comments below. All the best. Bye.